Hey guys, what's up? What's up? I'm not trying to pump you or anything because I was like on for 2 months. um, yeah, yeah. So guys, this gonna ignore the fact that I've gone so long. I was gonna jump in the video, right? I know you love me, right? You know what? And my birthday, October 24th. So either you guys can at least say happy belated birthday, or what you gonna do? Like, are you gonna let's smash that like that, subscribe button, alright? Hit that notification bell too, yeah? Young man, brother, Jamaican style. I don't say oh gosh. Alright, anyways. Let's start with it. So today is going to be Young Done the Sauce God animation. I'm going to leave his link to his channel in the description. So because his channel is awesome, funny, he can animate very well. You guys gonna see in a second, alright? You guys gonna see in a second. So we're just gonna stomp into the video. Jump into the video, alright? Cue the intro. Oh, damn.
Reach for the stars, 'cause we're aiming high.
And then from behind me, I hear,
Lord Donald, I say you live. Me did think say you live somewhere nicer than that. No, yo, Donald, I really that's say you live, dog. Rotted.
I turn around, and there's this group of kids laughing at me. And I don't know what to do.
Getting teased for where I live done by Young Done the Sauce God. This nigga late nigga. Like,
Do you like video games, anime, magic, Breath of the Wild, Avatar, not spending money? Well, if you said yes to any of those things, then you're going to love today's sponsor, Genshin Impact. A brand new, completely free-to-play, massive open-world Japanese RPG game available on PC, Android, iOS, and PS4. Now, when it comes to combat, right, you have a beautiful combination of... Children can be cruel. In fact, I dare say that most of the dysfunction and insecurities we carry with us into adulthood are the results of things that happen to us as children, often at the hands of other children. The cruelest thing I think that kids do to each other is mock and tease each other for things that they have absolutely no control over. You know, height, skin color, the kind of clothes their parents can afford to give them. It's f***ed up. And listen, I agree that getting teased as a kid helps you build thick skin, and you need that in life because at times,
yo, by the way, quick backstory, I used to get bullied a lot though. I'm not gonna lie. In 7th grade, and somewhat in 6th grade. In 8th grade, nigga, I didn't give a fuck no more. If a nigga play with me, he gonna get knocked. I not got bad anger issues now. Oh no, if somebody ramp with me, their head gonna end up in the dirt. 6 feet under, I'm not gonna kill no nigga though. I'm not like that. I'm not tough like that, alright? I'm gonna kill no nigga, but I'm knock a nigga out, alright? Clean. They about to be stiff shit, nigga. Like, you feel me?
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap. No bullshit, bro.
the world can be a very cold and unforgiving place. But does that justify children being mean to other children? I don't know. Personally, I got my fair share of shit growing up. I fell and knocked out my 2 front teeth almost as soon as I got them. So I didn't have any front teeth from nursery school age until like the 2nd grade. And when they came in buck and crooked. So I got bare crooked teeth jokes all the way until like the 5th grade when I started to somewhat grow into them. They were still crooked as shit, but I embraced it. Kinda. I got big feet jokes. I got ugly feet jokes. Oh God. Niggas made fun of my hairline. They said my head was big. And I wasn't short as a kid, but I wasn't tall. And I was skinny. So big kids thought they could push me around, which is why I made fun of my
Yo. Did you see
tall. And I was skinny.
Yo, zoom in on that real quick. Damn.
So big kids thought they could push me around, which is why as a kid, I just tried to be everyone's friend. And to top it off, my mom would buy these big ass backpacks every year, even though I would tell her not to specifically buy me JanSports. And she would never do it because she said that they were expensive while being poorly made. And she wanted me to value things based on their quality instead of their popularity. Which is true, but still lame. But of everything that I've ever been teased about, there was one thing that really bothered me when it happened, and I think it was because it was based around a lie. See, like when I got teased for my crooked teeth, I would go home, look in the mirror, and say to myself, yeah, these some crooked ass teeth, nigga. Maybe one day you'll get braces, I don't know. But when people start lying about you, what you gonna do? Embrace the lie? All you can do is ignore it, which is easier said than done. So back in like the 8th grade, right? Back in Jamaican high school, my dad started a supplies company, supplying things like copier paper, stationery, and other office supplies to other companies. He started it with his friend, and together they settled on setting up their base of operations at this spot that was pretty close to my school. So one day, he picks me up from school and tells me that he's gonna stop by the office on the way home and show me the new place. So we're driving down from school, down this main street called Hope Road, the same way we always drive to get home. We're like 3 minutes down the road from school, and then my dad makes a right onto this property that I had never noticed before. I'm talking, I've been down this street hundreds of times at that point. Never once did I notice this property, and that's probably because the small entranceway was hidden by an overgrowth of bushes and shrubs. So we drive down this dirt road and park in front of this large one-story building, which was clearly a house, not an office building. This was a house, and it was old. Like, the niggas who built it had slaves, bro, for sure. It was so old, and it was not well taken care of. Turns out the people that owned it inherited it from their family and wanted to turn it into a business complex, but it was still in the beginning phase of being turned into that. On the outside, it still looked like an old rundown house. Now, at first, I actually thought it was kind of cool. You know, I like old buildings, and I like the idea of my dad starting a company. And when I went inside, it looked like an office space. There were desks and computers and air conditioning. There was fresh paint on the walls. Everything looked legit. On top of which, I thought it was pretty cool to now be walking distance from my dad's office. So that became the daily routine. After school, whenever I didn't have sports, my dad would pick me up, take me to the office, and I'd play video games on the computer until it was time to go home. Well, one day, my dad says to me, "Hey son, instead of me picking you up, I want you to walk to the office after school." So I'm like, no problem. So one day, I'm walking to the office after school, and I'm walking with a crowd of students. In Jamaica, we don't have school buses that pick you up and drop you off from school. Most kids have to use the city bus. So I'm walking to the office. These other kids are walking to the bus stop. Kids that know who I am. We're walking, and then we get to the gate at the front of the property. So I turn and start walking up the dirt pathway, and then from behind me, I hear,
Lord Donald, I say you live? Me did think say you live somewhere nicer than that. No, yo, Donald, I really that's say you live, dog. Rotted.
I turn around, and there's this group of kids laughing at me. And I don't know what to do. Because one, they're still walking on their way to the bus stop. So I'm like, I'm not about to chase them down and try and convince them that I don't live here. Also, I don't live here. So I'm like, I guess I should ignore that, but I still felt pretty shitty because I could see how it looks like I lived there. And no one's gonna look at this rundown old slave master's house and think that there are these small companies being started in the back. And no one at the school actually knew where I really lived because my parents weren't the sleepover and hang out with other kids after school kind of parents. So I just turned around and with a good amount of embarrassment, walked into the house. And I didn't say anything about it to my dad because I didn't know what to say. So I just didn't. But I knew I never wanted to walk there again because I didn't want this rumor that I live in a bando to grow. But I also didn't want to tell my dad that I didn't want to walk there anymore because of what some dumb kids are saying. So the next day, I go to school and I'm paranoid that everyone now thinks that I live in an abandoned house down the street. Every chuckle I hear, every whisper, I think is some kid roasting me about living in a dump. And I already wasn't the most confident kid in the 8th grade, so it made me feel insecure. And now the school bell at the end of the day went from being my favorite sound to being the sound I hated the most. I came up with all these ways to avoid people finding out about the house. Sometimes I would just sit and wait after school for as long as I could, so that most of the kids would have already taken the bus home. I tried to always walk by myself, and if I saw someone that knew me, I would just walk in a way where they couldn't see me. And then, as soon as I turned the corner onto the property, I would run to the house door, trying to get inside before anyone I knew walked by. I was putting myself through so much just to avoid people finding out something about me that wasn't even true. And that's how I operated the entire rest of the school year. The next school year though, my little sister started 7th grade at my school. And now after school, I had to walk her to the office. And that changed everything. Because now it wasn't about worrying about people spreading rumors that I lived in some rundown house down the street. Now it was about making sure my baby sister got to my dad's office safely. Also, my little sister looked up to me, and if she sensed that I was insecure about the house, maybe then she would start feeling embarrassed about it too. And I didn't grow up with a big brother to teach me the importance of masculinity and stoicism. But despite being divorced from my mom, my dad did teach me enough to know that it's important that the women in your life never see you as weak or scared, even in the moments that you are weak and scared, because that's just what men are supposed to do. So the very first time I walked with my sister, she wanted us to walk with a group of kids she knew. So we're walking up the street, and then as we get to the gate, surrounded by people who knew both of us, instead of wanting to hide, I walked with my back straight, my chin held high, and as if nothing was wrong with this picture. Because nothing was wrong with that picture. And I don't know if my sister even sensed it, or if she was just already mature enough to know that shit like this didn't matter, but she looked comfortable and like she didn't have a care in the world. And that's all that mattered to me. And I noticed I heard no snickering, no laughing, and it made me think, why the f did I ever let that shit bother me in the first place? And from that day on, it never did. I never explained myself. I'd walk with my friends sometimes, and if anyone ever asked me why I'm walking in there, I'd just say, this is where I go after school. And then that was it. There are a lot of morals that you can take away from this, but the one I want to focus on is that when someone tries to gain popularity at the expense of someone else, it's because they believe that the only way they can lift themselves up in the eyes of others is by putting someone else down. And that is a true mark of someone who feels inadequate. So take solace in that, and know that more than likely, it's because you have something that they wish they had.
Alright,
I don't know the last time that I told myself that I want.
show your boy some love because he missed his birthday, because my fault, because I was there for like 2 months, but scrap that shit, that nigga don't give a care. Okay, so yeah, that's the drill. I'll see you in the next video. I'll leave his link in the description for his channel. Check him out, subscribe, like. Told him that upcoming YouTuber essentially, like, I don't know what that's supposed to do, but anyways, peace out.